Hello, good morning. Welcome to Bars and Bells. My name is Lauren.
And I'm Ian.
And this morning we are at the Restore and Recharge class where we'll use our body weight to improve our mobility and get a little stronger.
Of course. We have our chair in the background. We'll use that in a second. As well as we have that low balancing aid like an ottoman or a low step. We'll start with the head and neck, and then Lauren will take it away with the hips. At the head and neck, let's start with our gentle chin tucks. Pull the crown of the head tall, as if we're being pulled up like a marionette. The chin retracts in. From here, a moderate chin tuck down. Chin towards sternum. From there, try to keep your eyes forward and, at the same time, extend the head neck up. Then repeat once more as we do our chin tuck down. Crown of the head returns high. Keep those eyes on the horizon if you can. And one last time, extension. Looking at the camera, giving a smile and looking straight ahead. Extension. And then crown returning to tall. From here, let's try lateral flexion. The nose stays in the same place and an ear approaches a shoulder. Ear towards shoulder on the one side. Pull through center and alternate on the other lateral side. Return to center. The nose again is that pivot point in the center. Try to avoid moving. If it moves, it means you're rotating. And right now, just think bending and extending back to tall. But now it's time to move that nose as we pull the chin in, and I'll look over my right shoulder, looking towards Lauren. Then, always in the pursuits to get taller, we'll go through center. Again, eyes on the horizon, repeat to the other side. Look straight through the middle once more, and last time rotating, making room, through center once again. Last lateral look, and then return facing forward. And just shake it, wiggle it, and let's repeat those same movements through the rib cage. I always like to adjust my stance just a little bit as well. Hands across body, shoulder blades tight. We'll get into those again in a bit. And start by flexion, bringing that rib cage towards the hips. Now lightly pull down, engaging your shield, that core, and then extend up. Without using your back bend, that rib cage moving. One more time. Do a little chin tuck and a little flexion forward. Lightly pull down, engage the abs to extend back to tall. Now envision yourselves in this cylinder where we'll side flex, but the ribs stay over the hips. Then pull on that short side, return through center, and laterally flex or bend to the other side. Stabilize by pulling down. Brace, breathe, create tension, stability and mobility here. And one more time through center, the other way. And then stack ribs over top of those hips. Return those hands across the body again and shoulders retracted. And first, let's rotate at the head neck. I'll look over my right shoulder to look towards Lauren. Then my hips can stay forward now and rotate that upper back or T-spine. Now head returns to center. Let the upper body follow. And repeat. Other side. Rotate at the head neck. Torso turns next. Hips forward. Then reset the head to center. Body to follow. Repeat once more here. Rotation head neck. Check. Rotation through the T-spine or rib cage next. Then head returns to center. Upper body next. Final repetition. Chin tuck. Rotate. T-spine. Rotate. Hips forward. And the head returns to center. And lastly, the rib cage. From here, Lauren, what's up?
I forget, actually.
The Captain Morgan, I think.
Captain Morgan. All right, to your chair, your ottoman, or the step in front of you. Let's stand behind it, not too far, not too close. Gently bend a knee, trying to keep those quads parallel. Now, we're going to bring that knee up. As we do that, let's try to reach those hips or tailbone slightly back to the wall behind us. So we're not tucked under as we lift that leg up. From this position, get your foot fully flat. And let's check in with that leg that's touching the floor. So that foot is rooted. The kneecaps pulled up, that cheek is squeezed. We're nice and rooted into the floor. That back hip's extending forward. As we do that, that front leg is driving down and pulling in. So right now we have that scissor where we pull in our top leg and extend that back hip forward. Feel that tension for 3, 2, and then relax, but try not to fall out of that. Try to keep those level hips, that slight tailbone tilt, but relax. Good, let's gather that back up. So root the foot again, pull the kneecap up, squeeze the back cheek, pull that front leg in. Let's keep that tension pulling in. And now, with that bottom leg rooted, slowly start to hover that top foot off the floor. As you do that, keep reaching that hip to the back as to not curl underneath for 3, 2, and then soft landing. Let's repeat that one more time. Bottom leg nice and straight and stable. Pull that top leg in, slight tip of the hip towards the back wall as you think the femur goes in order to lift off. Hold for 3, 2, now keeping that knee nice and bent, we'll push the hips forward as the leg comes underneath of us and then gently straightens out. Give it a little shake, repeat on the other side. Bend the knee, quads trying to stay parallel, flicking the floor. As we bring that leg up, that hip reaches back slightly as to not tuck under in that low back. As well, we're keeping those hips level, lifting from the hip versus from that low back. Back hip extended, foot rooted, kneecap pulled up, front leg pulling in as this back leg drives forward. Feel that tension for 3, 2, and then lightly relax but stay. As you relax, check in that those hips remain level. That bottom leg is still rooted. That back hip is now cranking up to push forward. That front leg pulling in. Feel that tension. Now with that bottom leg rooted and this tailbone tilted lightly towards the back wall, slowly think about lifting this leg off the step. Again, as you do this, you're pulling the femur in order to lift up. Gentle, place down. We'll do that one more time. Give it a little wiggle. Then root the standing leg, hip extended, hips level. Slight tailbone tilt back as you pull the femur in order to lift up. And hold. And keep compressing in that hip socket for 3, 2, then keeping this knee bent, we'll brush it back behind us and straighten it out underneath. Whew. Next, we'll get into those hamstrings a little bit shoulders first.
Shoulders quick, and then right back to Lauren for those hams. Starting with the hands at the side from seated, standing, anything that works for you. Palms face forward. Lightly elevate the shoulders, that up direction. Next, down, as if to touch the floor. Up and down, but now let's work each of those actions in opposition to one another. Low effort, shrug your shoulders. Keep your chin tucked, and while we're looking like a scarecrow here, try to touch the floor, but let those upper traps win and create light to heavy tension here for 5, 4, 3, easy on the off switch and down. Now imagine you have 2 kettlebells or heavy buckets of water in your hands. Reach towards the floor. Next, keep that down action winning, but try to shrug up. Using your serratus, using those armpit muscles to hold the down, then try to shrug up for just a couple extra seconds. Easy on the off and relax. Let's repeat that one more time as we low effort at first, shrug up. Let this up action win, but try to touch the floor. The elbows might stiffen, the triceps might start to get jacked, and pull the arms into the ribs for 2, 1, and easy on the off. This isometric creates stability for the blade. Doing it one more time, let's press down those depressors, then try to shrug up. Breathe, squeeze your bum, stiffen those arms, and for 3 more seconds, create that stability at the blade, and relax with our shake. We'll come back to the shoulder in just a second, but before then, Lauren, let's show them what's up with those hips and hams.
Back to the hamstrings. This time we'll step a little bit further behind our step. We'll bend that leg the same as we did the last time, so with those quads parallel. Now as you bring that leg up, just like last time, keep that slight anterior tip of the hips, pulling the femur in, and then once it's up there, let's extend it, placing that heel this time on the step. Right now we have that dorsiflex foot, so the foot is pulled to the shin versus being pointed. If you're gonna point your foot, just do one or the other, not halfway in between. Now, I like to, once I get here, have my hips nice and level and drag this heel like 1 centimeter towards me. So that leg just comes into the socket a little bit. As we did in that last drill, that standing leg is rooted and the hip extended. So right now I'm pulling that front leg in a little bit and extending that back hip. Next, let's rotate to turn the inseam up towards the ceiling and then back to center. And from the leg femur, gently try some internal rotation. Do that one more time. Rotating the whole leg open, inseam to the ceiling. Now as we come through center and internally rotate, differentiate between moving your ankle and actually rolling that femur bone in. Then come back to center. Let's pull that foot towards the shin one last time. Tip the tailbone slightly to the ceiling or that back wall, that anterior tip. And then maybe add a light hinge forward. As I'm hinging forward, I keep the long spine. Reach both hips back and keep the leg pulled in. Feel, you shouldn't have to go too far for that lengthening of the hamstring. Then we'll come back up to tall. We'll keep that tailbone slightly tilted back as we lift the leg. Bend it to brush it back underneath and straighten out underneath. Same thing on the other side. Bend the leg. Slight anterior tip of the hips as you pull in the socket in order to lift the leg up, and then gently straighten out the leg on the step. Either pointed foot or flex foot. With those level hips, we have that bottom leg rooted. We'll drag the heel a centimeter towards us just to keep that leg in. And then we'll rotate our inseam up towards the ceiling and slowly back to center. And then that rotation in. So we're thinking that thigh is doing the rotation and back to center. One more time each way. As you rotate open, hips stay level. And as you come back through center, hips stay level in that internal rotation as well. Remembering it's coming from the leg, not the ankle. Back to center. Next, we pulled the foot to the shin. Slight tip of the tailbone towards the back wall. And then a hinge. And as you hinge, you might even feel that foot drag a little bit even more to pull the leg in as you stretch out and lengthen the hamstring from the very back of the heel all the way up to the butt. And then extend the hips, bending that knee, keeping it pulled in tight as you lift, keeping the knee bent brush, and then underneath to straighten. And shake it.
Shaking out. As Lauren just explored 2 variations for those hips, let's explore a second variation for the shoulders. Up and down, great, we've done that. Now let's look at that front and back action. With the hands at the sides, arms forward if allowed. Palm pits and elbow pits facing the same direction. First, protract, as if Lauren to touch my hands, wrap those shoulder blades around the body. Next, retract, as if to pull away from my hands or to pinch a pencil between the shoulder blades. One more time, forward or protract. Now let these muscles win. We're going to hold Lauren's hands out here very lightly, but with her effort, she's trying to pull the shoulder blades together. Feel energy in the armpit for 3, 2, ease off the effort, and then complement that effort with our retraction. So Lauren's squeezing those shoulder blades together in the back. And now with the brakes, the shoulder blades squeezing together, try to touch forward, that protract. Work those variations in opposition for stability. Return those arms to the side, add a little shake, and let's repeat just one more time. So with our hands forward, shrug, and then find the low and place them somewhere strong in the middle. Then take the hands and place them forward. Protraction is reaching forward. My blades are wrapping around my rib cage. I'll stay in this position, but try to isometrically, lots of action, lots of effort with no action, pull together. Then coast. Then actually let those shoulder blades retract or move together towards one another. Then keep the tension high in those rhomboids or back muscles, but try to touch forward for 5, 4, 3, and then easy on the off. That'll come in handy in some push-ups and planks later today. So let's keep that in our repertoire as Lauren takes us to the
feet.
Feet.
Let's get silly walking around and we'll make our way to the floor for some rest. Our first silly walk, we'll just bend our toes a little bit. So let's heel strike. Roll through that foot. You feel that pinky come down, then the ring finger, the toe, then the middle toe index, and big toe. As you do that, you're bending your back foot. Let's push some weight into that lunge foot, so that demi point, and then we'll flick the floor, flick the floor, bring that leg through. Heel, roll through the toes to touch the floor. As you bend that back foot, push some weight on that 45 angle, flick, and come through. 2 more here. Absorb the floor. Feel that push off with the back foot at the same time, and flick. 1 last time here, rolling through, feeling those toes, and then end up with your feet underneath. We'll go backwards back here, so we'll bend a knee, toe, ball, heel, not a big step, pointing that front leg and keeping that front leg nice and straight as it passes underneath, and then it'll bend. Toes, ball, heel, front leg remains straight, and then it bends. Last 2, toe, ball, heel, straight leg, absorbing that floor, and end with both legs underneath. Nice. Now let's gently just bend our knees here. As we bend our knees, could we walk in a forward direction, keeping our knees bent and our hips and shoulders square forward? And now let's try doing that backwards back. Again, toe, ball, heel. As you go backwards, trying to stay about the same height this whole time, keeping that light core brace, and then feet will return underneath and extend those hips. We have 1 more walk. Let's just drive down to push up, and we're gonna walk around on our tiptoes here. So with those kneecaps pulled up, the hips extended, let's take a couple steps forward. Try to keep those knees relatively straight, pushing into the floor, and then try walking backwards back. Again, it's toe ball, toe ball, toe ball, absorbing that floor through the feet. Now feet come underneath you and slowly descend, keeping the knees straight. Let's get us to the floor, combining a couple of those actions. First, pressing the knees over the toes. Then peel the heels up, finding a light rise. And sink a little bit lower. As you come down, with or without your hands, your knees will find the floor, your hips will extend, your toes will untuck, and you'll gently sit back and get ready for the wrists.
Those wrists. From here, let's get on those all fours. I see a comment there. Thanks for being here. We'll get to that in a second. Chopping up the hips if you're kneeling tall like I am, or just find the floor casually with the fingertips, calluses, and then full hands. Looking between the hands throughout, I might look up just to say hi every now and then. But we have our fingers rooted, we have our hands heavy, and those blood donations face forward. Pull the armpits low. Pull the hands to the knees to create some tension. You might feel your abs and those arms stiffen up. Continue to pull, and maybe the shoulders will drift forward, extending on the wrist. Then push forward through the hands. Keep your tailbone tipped back and press forward through those hands continuously. But switch. Pull the hands to the knees. Encourage the wrists to extend or the shoulders to reach over top, and then press forward, keeping that tailbone back. 1 more time, pull. Extension on the wrist, and to return to our tall kneel, push so heavily on the floor, flick the wrists, press those hips through. Quarter turn at the wrist now. Hip hinge, accept the floor fingertip. Callus, full hand. Neutral head position, looking down at the hands in between. I'll press to my right, drifting my weight or shifting my weight to the left. Then pressing to the left, I'll shift to the right. Do you feel the preload? Can you feel that tension in the floor? We'll utilize that strategy with our feet in the movement clock later. Return to center, then press equally both directions and flick those wrists and shake out. 1 more wrist warm up for me. It's the gorilla fists time. Place knuckles on the floor. Land with those peace sign digits, index and middle on the ground. Then I'll open up 1 hand at a time here, extending the elbow and flexing on the wrist. From here, press into the ground, back to the gorilla fist. Alternate sides. The shoulder remains packed, the elbow is straight, and press into the floor down to return back up. 1 more time each. Lauren flexed over, that elbow is gorgeous and straight, and pressing down into the ground, return to the stack. And 1 last time on the other side. Pull from the armpit, flexibility to get there, that mobility and strength to return. Then flick the floor away, shake it out just a little bit, and then I think another silly walk is on tap. We have to get up first. So let's get back to the hands in a usual planks position, tailbone tip to the ceiling like a cow. Then press the floor forward hands, lift the hips towards the ceiling, and anyhow that works for you, just walk yourself back up. And if you choose the hinge, that's great. And I'm using my fold. What are you doing, Lauren?
Folding.
Excellent. Unfolding to stack. And now we're back up to the top.
We'll get into a silly walk here, and then we'll grab our chair or our balance aid for a leg bar. This silly walk will be brought to you by the letter B for balance.
Ooh.
Let's point a single leg out. From here, your toes are going to accept the floor and then the ball of the foot. Feel that pull on the front leg to bring you up to the balls of the feet on both sides. Now, you're going to transition your weight towards the front foot, but keep that back toe down for now, and slowly descend onto that front heel. We'll flick the floor away with the back toe, point through. Feel the toes come down the ball of the foot. Feel that pull as you come up to 2 feet. Slowly transfer that weight towards the front foot, heel comes down, that light toe touch out the back. Flick, point, all 5 toes, ball of foot pulls you up. Now this time, if you want to advance it, let's transfer 100% of our weight onto that front leg and land on a single leg, heel down. One more time, point, toe, ball, heel, toes and balls, up to 2 feet. Transfer that weight to that front foot 100% as you lower that heel to the floor. Whew. Give it a little shake. Ian's gonna grab my chair there.
Excellent.
And I hope that, yeah, definitely. Okay, great. Thank you for joining. We're so glad you like the content. Thanks for joining us. And we will add some dates and playlists so that you can review in the future.
Awesome.
And come back anytime in the archive. So thanks for joining. All right, a quick leg bar for me. Standing up tall, we have that inside leg, which is the one closest to our balance aid, and we're holding our balance aid lightly. Let's point a leg to the front. Now from here, we're going to do that external rotation again, so that inseam comes up, then back to center, kneecap pointing forward. Now that light internal rotation one more time, as we did on that bench earlier today, and then return kneecap to center. Let's rotate one more time, that inseam faces up, and draw that quarter circle coming to the side. Those hips are still forward, you're still tall in your standing leg. We'll rotate the leg into internal rotation, hiding the inseam, and then rotate the leg open, showing the inseam. And one last time, rotate that femur in. Once we're rotated in, we're gonna continue drawing that circle around the back. Once out the back, flex the foot, keep the knee nice and straight as you pull the leg through center, pointing to the front. Now from the front, we'll pull that leg back under center, pointing out the back. Keep the hips facing forward and rotate that leg in the socket as you bring the leg around to the side, all the way around to the front, and then kneecap points forward, leg remains straight as the leg pulls back under center. Give that a little shake. We'll do the same thing on the other side. So right now we have stability in our pelvis, hips, but we're moving our leg. Point the outside leg to the front. Rotate the inseam up, facing the ceiling. Then rotate internally on that femur, hiding the inseam. One more time, rotate the leg open. Now keeping that rotation, send the leg that quarter circle to the side. Once it's out the side, check that the hips are still forward and level. Internally rotate the humerus or hide the inseam. And then externally rotate, show the inseam forward. And one last time, internally rotate. And then continue drawing that circle around the back. Flex over the foot, keep the knee nice and straight as it passes through center, pointing the leg to the front. And then one last time to the back. Reach long out the back. Try to keep that core brace as to not arch that low back as you draw that half circle, quarter circle to the side. Inseam ends up forward. Finish the circle to the front. And then again, with that straight knee, return the leg back underneath you. And shake.
Shakes and wiggles. From here, we'll transition to the floor, and then we'll be exploring a plank walkout. Perhaps perform from the knees or from the toes like Lauren, and modify as you need to stay strong throughout. Lauren's initiating that forward flex with the chin tuck, moderate chin tuck. Then imagine a hurdle at the rib cage where we go up and over, almost like getting into those skinny jeans. Then flex forward. I've used that one before.
I know. I just don't bend over to get in my skinny jeans.
Oh, okay.
Lie down.
Next, with our nose nearing the knees, let's bend them. Allow ourselves to get to the floor in a safe way. And here we are again on all sixes, which is the knees, the hands, and those feet. If you're ready to go, get into a high plank like Lauren. And if not, stay on all sixes with me. At the hips, do an anterior tip or tip your tailbone to the ceiling. Not so much for this move, so let's complement that with a tuck under of those hips. From here, could you walk out those hands, just like Lauren articulated those feet, a couple strides forward. If you're on your knees, take a step forward with the knees. If you're on your hands and feet, step forward with those hands, Lauren. Step forward with the feet, with the feet, with the feet, with the feet, with the feet. And then lean back over your plank. Plank walkout. We'll do that one more time here. So, hips tuck under, walk yourself through, extend those arms out front, hold for a second or two, and then walk your knees or feet back in towards those hands, towards an easier position. If you're in Lauren's down dog or A-frame, take your time coming up. And if you're with us on the ground, tip your tailbone to the ceiling, push the floor forward, walk back. We'll stack through that fold, pulling down, and then arriving back up at the top. Let's grab that balance aid again. Lauren, what else do you have for us on the leg bar?
Excellent. As we started out today's practice, we did some bent leg Captain Morgans. Let's repeat some of those in a leg bar fashion. So with your balance aid at your side and standing tall on your inside leg, we'll revisit that toe flick. So we flick and we try to keep those quads parallel as we bend the knee. Once in this bent position, we're going to again bring that knee up towards the front. What that means in the hips is you reach that femur back and keep that slight anterior tip of the hips or the tailbone reaching towards the back wall. Let's keep that foot underneath us close to the inseam of our pants. Keeping that knee bent as much as possible. Send that knee to the side as your hips push forward. Feel that tension in the glute driving that leg out there. Now use that adductor to pull the leg back to center. Let's do that one more time. Hips stay forward. Leg goes to the side, and then bring that leg back to center. Keep the knee bent as the leg brushes back to a parallel quad position. Keeping that knee bent will keep the hips level as well, and try to lift that leg out to the side. We have normally about 45 degrees of this adduction, so don't abduction, and then return underneath. So don't feel like this leg has to get very high as we do that one more time, lifting it to the side. Prioritize those level hips, reaching down and away. Bring it back underneath. And we have one more move here from those parallel quads positions. Let's get that heel as close to our butt. Keep those hips forward and just hold for a couple seconds. Try to get that heel even closer, even closer, even closer. And then slowly straighten out the leg underneath. Whew. Work on that moving leg, but also some stability and work on that standing leg. Same thing on the other side. So quads start parallel. We flick the floor with the foot as we bend the knee. That slight anterior tip of the hip as we bring the knee towards the front, lifting up into that hip flexion. The foot is staying tight underneath us to not bring the leg too far out in front of us. Hold for 3, 2. Now from here, keeping the hips level, send the knee to the side. Feel that outside glute, and then use those adductors inside to pull the leg back through center. One more time. Knee goes to the side, hips stay square forward and level. And then adduct, pulling that leg back to center. Now keeping that knee bent, brush back to parallel. From here, we kept that belt line level as we lifted the leg out to the side and held, keeping the knee bent. Reach and hold. Bring it back to center. One more time. As you lift away from here, think about reaching down to go away versus cranking in that rib hip area. Then return the leg back underneath, and for the last 5 seconds, get your heel as close to your bum as you can. Heel as close to your bum for 3, 2, and then gently straighten out underneath. Whew. I guess there's not really any sprinting in this Olympics. A little bit in the bobsledding.
Oh yeah.
But it's neat to see those professionals run and nearly kick their bum as they pull their leg through.
Amazing.
Much closer than
amazing flexibility and mobility. I would like to return to that plank walkout one more time, and I hope that maybe I can cue it a little bit better so Lauren isn't as lost. So let's fold to the floor and apply that plank walkout. Easy does it. It's the chin tuck. Bring the ribs to the hips and stay tight to the body as if in a phone booth or between a super narrow alleyway. You might flex the knees. That might allow a little more suppleness or bending through the spine. And then as you can, accept the floor fingers, calluses in hands, 6 points like me, 4 points like Lauren, anterior tip. Get to a gentle cow posture in the hip then, and tuck under for strength. Use the hands and walk yourself forward a couple steps. Once you're at your end range, stiffen the elbows, peel and pull into the floor, and then walk your knees or hands back towards one another. Repeating 1 or 2 times again, tuck under those hips and walk yourself out in our plank walkout. Use those hands, stiffen the elbows, tuck under the hips, and breathe. Then hands to feet or feet to hands, walk back to an easier position. For our final time, down dog up like Lauren, and let's get back to that fold. Press the floor forward, straighten the knees as allowed, and pull down and up to get back to our tall, stacked position. We like good cheese, and this line's been used before too, but Lauren, what time is it?
I was thinking about cheese, the actual cheese.
Cheese is good too.
It's movement clock time though.
Okay.
All right, our clock starts in the center with our feet underneath us. Just as we've done all through class, we'll peel that heel away from the floor and then flick to point the toes. Pointing the leg out straight, keeping that leg pulled in tight, we're gonna land toe, ball, heel. As we land here, let's keep that back heel heavy and that back leg straight. Knee towards over the toe, square forward. Then push into the floor and zip that leg underneath. Same leg, knee front. This time the knee's gonna open to 10 or 2. Point the leg, land toe, ball, heel. Again, feel that pull, pressing your knee towards over your toe. Your back leg remains straight. Press through to center. Knee front. Knee opens to 9 or 3. Points. Toe, ball, heel lands. We're still square forward. Our knee drifts towards over our toe. Press to center. Knee front. Knee side. This time we rotate on that standing leg femur to the new corner. Point the leg. This is 4 or 8 o'clock. Land. And then press into the floor, returning to center. Last one, as we have, flick the floor. Toe, ball, heel. Accept, keeping the hips level, and then push away, return underneath. Second side. Peel the foot up off the floor. Point to noon. Toe, ball, heel, land. Feel the pull together, and then the press back to center. Knee front. Knee side to 10 or 2. Toe, ball, heel, land. As we press back, let's try to keep that stationary leg nice and straight this whole time. Knee front. Knee side. Point 9 or 3. Toe, ball, heel, land. Feel that pull together, and then the push to center. 2 more. Knee front. Knee side. Rotate on that femur. New corner. Toe, ball, heel, land. This is where we square up to our new corner, and then press back to center. And our last one, we bend the knee. Toe, ball, heel. Hips sink back. Stationary leg stays straight as you press back to center.
It's been a couple weeks since I've done a push-up, so let's start at the very beginning. We've already done that with the wrists. We've addressed that core plank position. Let's take ourselves through that nice push-up range down, and this time I'll do it from the knees. Oops, Lauren will do it from the knees, and I'll do it from those toes. Modify and challenge as you can. Instead though, get those hip chops going, Lauren. So we're gonna chop ourselves down to the floor utilizing our hinge. Vertical shins, hips back. Join again if you want more cues for that in the future. Knees can come forward, accept that floor. From wherever position on the knees, like Lauren, or in the high plank like me, gently tip that tailbone to the ceiling again. But that's not our plank's position. Our plank position is tucking under those hips, engaging the core, connecting the ribs and hips. Squeeze your bum, apply some high tension here for 5, 4. Are you squeezing your bum, Lauren? Of course you are. 3, 2, gently reset with a breath. Apply high tension techniques through our descent phase of the push-up. Then we'll have to come back up. So from 4 points like me, 6 points like Lauren, tuck under those hips, and let's count to 10 as we pull ourselves to the floor. 10 and 9, complete with a chin tuck, a core brace, and as always, breathing. Not falling, setting down gently on the floor. Now, tip your tailbone to the ceiling again, but this time tuck it right back under. Press, and finish in your planking position. Let's try that one more time. High plank position with the hips tucked under. Grip the floor, count to 10. 9 as we descend. Slowing down gravity with your tension. Chin tuck, breathe, and gently down. Tuck under the hips again. Core brace, where the hips, shoulders move together. Walk yourself back. Use the hands and press back to that hinging position or your down dog. And then extend the hips through to tall. Always add that gentle shake. And then Lauren, what do you got?
I have some weight transfers for you.
Yes.
So we'll explore more the 9 and the 3 position right now. From that standing position, feet underneath you. Take a single leg, knee to the front, open it to the side, point, land toe ball heel, not too far. Now, pull the floor together underneath you with those straight legs. Then drive the floor down and away. Feel how your hips extend, your kneecaps pull up, and you have that core brace. Let's do it one more time. Pull the floor together. Then press it away. Now come back to that pulling position, and this time you'll pull so much that your knees actually bend. Once you're down here, let's hang out. Maybe shift a little bit from side to side. As I shift here, I'm trying to stay the same height the whole time. Keep my hips extended and my knees pressing over my toes. Back to center to push down to come back up. We're gonna add on here. Pull the legs together again, descending in your squat. Now, again, staying the same height, press one leg, sending that knee towards over toe and keeping the hips extended. Then on that straight leg, start pulling and pull yourself across, pushing the hips forward. One more, not just one more times each side. Pull on that straight leg again, drifting over. This time so much so that you end up pointing this foot. We still are connected to the floor with the toe, and then toe, ball, heel. Pull across, push over, hips forward, knee over toe, point. Again, pull yourself across, hips forward, pointing out this leg. Then could we lift that leg and hold? When we're lifting this leg, we're reaching down and away, and we're feeling our cheek. Then toe ball, heel land, pull across, press over, hold. Keep this distance lengthen. Don't get crunchy in that low back to lift the leg. Hold. Toe ball, heel. Let's add on one more time each side. Press over, lift. Drive down to stand up. Hold for 3, 2, then knee goes back over the toe. Toe ball, heel, pull, 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 pull. Press all the way over, hips extended. Lift the leg. Drive down to stand up. Hips forward. Knee over toe again. Toe, ball, heel to center. Drive down to up. And then we'll push off that side leg. Close. And shake.
And shake. Always those shakes. Returning to the floor for one more set of push-ups. Perhaps revisit the wrist warm-ups or high plank tension. Transition towards a push-up as you can. Follow along next week for more tips. Hinging. It's a chop on the hips.
Chip chop.
Shins stay vertical. Right away, do you feel that load on the hamstrings? Search for it. Find the floor accepting fingers, calluses, and hands. And from a modified position, or from those knees, or from the high plank, let's perform a 10-second down phase of the push-up. Tuck the hips under, squeeze your bum, brace your core, and create high tension.
Are we going? Sorry.
We're going. 9, 8, 7, 6. Breathing and gently coming down. If the up phase is a little challenging, maybe find those forearms and press yourself back towards your tall or tops planks position. Go for it, Lauren. Using the elbows or a usual plank. One more time. From the high plank or the knees, high tension. Pull yourself down. Bum squeeze, core brace. We're slowing down to the floor. Press up in a normal position or find those elbows and press yourself back. From here, we have our tailbone tipped to the ceiling like cow. Press the hands forward, down dog your A-frame, and personalize your up back to your hinge or your fold, just not that hybrid in between.
One more balance, one more balance.
Lots of comments today. Hello, everyone. Thanks for being here.
One more balance. We did our lateral balances. Now it's time to do our forward back. With your feet underneath you, just turn them out to that slightly first position. Point a leg out to the side and draw a quarter circle around to the front. Toe ball, heel, land. Your heels might be on about the same line or slightly crossed. Make sure this distance is probably only about 1 foot in front of you, like foot length, not inches. And we could go forward and balance on our front foot, or we could go backwards and balance on our back leg. Or we could stand between 2 feet and drive down and find a 2-foot balance on our rise. Let's keep the knees straight and the heels come down. Adding on as you'd like. We'll push down to go up one more time, or stay on your flat feet. Push off that back leg and find a front leg balance again and hold. Try to stay square forward for 3, 2, and then you're gonna land your back toes and ball of foot. Transition your weight from your front foot to your back foot and find that back leg balance and hold for 3, 2. We'll come back to our 2-foot balance, keeping the knees straight. The heels will both land. We'll push off of our front leg and return the front leg underneath of us. Repeating on the other side, side to the front. That foot distance in between. Push off your back foot to find your front leg balance and hold. Flat foot right now, but feel that foot working to grip the floor. Toe ball, heel, push off your front foot to find that back leg balance. Thinking about getting stacked over top of your leg. To center. In center, we're on 2 feet, but we drive down to go up. Either stay here and stabilize, or push off your back foot and find that front leg balance. Again, get stacked over top of that balance point for 3, 2, and then toe ball. Push off your front leg and find that back leg balance, holding, growing up to the ceiling for 3, 2, and then toe ball. You're between 2 feet now. Your heels will come down with the knees straight. Push off the front foot. Bring the leg underneath. And close.
And close. Say a couple hellos there. I just want to read what's going on.
I think you might be disappointed in the last one.
Oh, those last two are a little disappointing, but it's all good. We're here. Thank you very much for joining us live at 9:30 on Friday mornings. We're thereafter in the archive for Restore and Recharge.
My name's Lauren.
I'm Ian.
And we thank you, our members and our patrons, for joining us and allowing us to continue practicing online. We're back in studio soon, so if you're around town, come on by. And if not, don't you worry, because we'll still be online. Tomorrow morning, we play with our strength at
8:00 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
And it's called
The Weekend Workout.
The Weekend Workout.
As Lauren said, we'll play with our strength. We'll start with those wrist warm-ups, crawl around at the zoo, and ultimate handstand challenges by the end. Always a good time.
And progressions in between.
Always.
Thanks for joining. My name's Lauren.
I'm Ian again.
Together we take care, stay strong, and
we'll train soon.
Goodbye.
Nice one there.